What the hell happened to the not-so-amazing Spider-Man? But let's be realistic for a moment. We all know that The Amazing Spider-Man and The Amazing Spider-Man 2 would never have even existed, would never have been rebooted, if it hadn't been for Sony saying, oh my god, our license to the Marvel character Spider-Man is going to go away in the next few years. So, in order to renew our license, we have to reboot the franchise. Although it's only been 10 years since the previous films, we need to reboot it so we can bring in and rake more and more cash into our money-grubbing hands. The franchise, The Amazing Spider-Man, whether you want to admit it or not, is being milked for money. That's it. The Amazing Spider-Man 2 desperately suffers from any story. This film is not about story. It's about money. It's about a cash cow. It's about rushing things into production to where if you have a 2.5-hour fucking film of 3 fucking different villains and fails to do exactly what Spider-Man 3 did. Spider-Man 3 was a terrible film. You had the Sandman. You had the Green Goblin or his son. You had Venom. 3 of these characters pushed into a film. It was convoluted, and this film does exactly the same thing. You have Electro, and you have Rhino, which, don't even get me started on that. Drives me fucking insane that they made him into this robotic transforming shit. This is what Rhino looks like, and I think if you made Rhino look like this, make him look like the Incredible Hulk, except with like his face, you know, just make him look like that. I think that would be incredible if he looked like that. But no, he's a robotic transformer piece of shit. Next up we have drama. This film felt like a drama movie. I mean, don't get me wrong, Andrew Garfield plays a great Peter Parker. I'm not dissing him for that. But this film is centered around this whole stupid fucking romance, which I know it feels like they tried to grab story elements from the comics, pull them into a movie, and then they just convoluted it up and mishmashed it all together without actually thinking it through, only for the film to deliver absolutely terrible fucking dialogue. One of my biggest problems with films that try to introduce too many fucking villains like The Amazing Spider-Man 2 here is you have a lack of character development for the actual villains. They're underdeveloped. So therefore you kind of sit back and you're like, why are these characters in the movie? The characters Electro, Green Goblin, and Rhino are nothing like they're portrayed in the comics. This is nothing more than a cliched fucking romance novel to an extent. And I realize that The Amazing Spider-Man 2 has been toned down for younger audiences, and I realize that. But even though they've done that, they could at least try to make it an enjoyable, not forgettable film. Keyword, not forgettable, because that's what this was. Yeah, this movie had a lot of fucking CGI. In fact, this movie was, you should have made the whole movie fucking CGI. I don't even know why you have even real actors, considering how much CGI was in the movie, and the CGI didn't even look that good. I think Spider-Man 3's, the instance where the Sandman is being created through all the little sand particles, that had better CGI, and that was over 5 years ago. And this movie doesn't even meet the same level of standard in terms of CGI, computer-generated images. The Amazing Spider-Man 2 reminds me of Die Hard 5. It shouldn't even have been made. You know, it goes back to my original point. They had to renew the fucking license. And because they renewed the license, because they knew they could make money in it, they rushed the production and made it absolute shit. So you want to know my review of The Amazing Spider-Man 2? It was not amazing. It was terrible. It's an insult to Spider-Man movies. And I'm sorry to say, but my favorite Spider-Man movie of all time, I think it's going to reign one of my top superhero movies, is in fact Spider-Man 2. Tops the line. We all know that if Marvel got its hands back on the original character of Spider-Man, it would be incredible. We know that Marvel would make Spider-Man the character. Can you imagine having the Spider-Man in the X-Men combined? You know, you could have the Avengers versus the X-Men like in the comics. You could have Spider-Man pop into the Avengers Age of Ultron. Can you imagine how cool that would be? But no, Sony has to fuck up the Spider-Man franchise with another shitty reboot known as The Amazing Spider-Man 2. Let's just hope X-Men Days of Future Past is good. I have high hopes for that film, considering it's directed by Bryan Singer, who also did X-Men and X-Men 2, which were excellent films. Fox has made some shitty mistakes in terms of comic book movies too, but hopefully they can redeem themselves with Days of Future Past. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, thank you guys for watching my video. My name is Daniel Soulsbuck, also known as Mr. Repsion. Peace the rep out, and don't waste your money on The Amazing Spider-Man 2.